Okay, so this is about x.ai. And it's okay. So here's a problem situation. Okay, I know people complain a lot about having so many meetings, but personally, I don't mind having lots of meetings as long as they're productive. Meetings not productive, then it's frustrating, but meetings that are productive, I'm fine. But I really, really hate scheduling meetings. So this is just a personal peeve of mine. And actually, since I came to SKEMA, this was one of the things that really annoyed me the most because I've never had so many meetings in my life since I came to SKEMA. But scheduling the meetings, like what time are you available? Here are my slots, not available at that time. And if you want to take a moment and just read this, I think this kind of captures my sentiment and perhaps yours. Okay, so lots of people trying to get a meeting, trying to find a slot for everyone. That's a problem situation. So it's a very practical felt problem, and I've been looking for solutions for since I came to Schema, and about a year and a half ago, I finally came across x.ai. So x.ai is your personal artificial intelligence scheduling assistant. So some administrators at Schema are fortunate enough to have an executive assistant who helps to schedule their meetings. Well, now we can all have that through artificial intelligence. And there are three bots or three agents that X.ai uses. They do exactly the same thing, just slightly different personalities. There's Amy Ingram, and there's her email address. There's Andrew Ingram if you want to mail, and then Scheduler is just generic. Uh, so what X.ai does that it connects to your calendar and it manages your calendar for you. It connects to Outlook, whether Office 365 or Outlook.com or Google Calendar. And it says others are coming soon, such as iCloud, but for a long time it's just been Outlook and Google Calendar. And what it does, it's manages your calendar in the sense that when it schedules meetings for you, it only offers people your available slots as you define them as available. And so this brings up the issue that if you've never had a personal scheduling assistant before, and I never had until x.ai, there is one absolute requirement for it to work, and that is your calendar must be accurate. So your Outlook calendar, what it says, really needs to reflect your actual situation. That means your calendar, when your calendar says you're available, you really are available. That means available for possible meetings means either there's nothing scheduled or you have an event at that time, but the event is marked as available, meaning you don't mark double booking. So you have to take care of that. And your calendar being accurate means that busy, you have a meeting scheduled there, it really means you're not available. You cannot have a meeting scheduled there. And busy in terms of x.ai is any event status other than available. So whether it says busy, tentative, away from office, working remotely, I think those are the different options in Outlook. Any of those means not available. X.ai will not double book a meeting when one of those statuses are checked. So I mentioned this because it there's a bit when we're used to managing our own calendar, we kind of know I have something there or it's blank, but I know what's going on. But if you want software to manage it for you, you just have to take care of making your calendar reflects your reality. Now, some of my to show a little bit of my personal pain points on this. Um, I mean, we all have different situations. Like here's a picture of my current calendar. So I'm not a program manager. When I was a program manager, so about 2 or 3 times as full. But even now, I have quite a few meetings. But this is not my big problem. My big problem is that other than work, I have a personal life, and I have a personal calendar actually, and I will show it to you. This is my calendar for next month, and it's I mean, I've hidden the names of the events, but all the dots are things related to my personal life. My wife uses Google Calendar. She puts her events there. We have things with the kids going on, and a lot of the things, especially during the day, are they're not things that I need to attend. But I just like to know what's going on with the rest of my family. Sometimes I have meetings with people and so on. And the thing is that this has to intersect with this. So if I do have something during the day, like maybe one of my kids has a doctor's appointment, well, it doesn't show up on my schema calendar, but I don't want to put uh, schedule something on there. So how do I reconcile these two? And that's really where x.ai came in for me. So uh, to to give so x.ai let me uh, the website is x.ai. That's it. Okay. And to give you an idea of how you schedule a meeting, the simplest way is you just create an email, and you basically, let's see, you create an email, and like maybe I have an email to Roland, and I just copy any of the x.ai schedule agents in there. And hi, Roland. We have quick chat tomorrow. Let's say on Monday. And just natural language. And what x.ai, once it's copied, it will recognize a date, Monday. And it will, based on that, it will schedule a meeting for us. Okay, but the actual scheduled meeting, so that's the number one way. You just send an email, you copy x.ai, and it will send the person my availability and say pick a time slot, and it'll give Monday options because I said that. That's a basic way. Um, but then there are other ways, a number of other ways to schedule meetings on x.ai. And for that, so in addition to sending an email, you can copy a calendar page link. And okay, so here, let's see. I'll show you this a bit. Well, actually, let me show you this here. This is a link, and just as a demo, I went ahead and created a calendar event. I'm going to post it on the Teams chat so that you can all test right now what it's like to receive an invitation. So I can just send a link there, and so go ahead and click it, and go ahead and pick a meeting slot. It's just for tomorrow, and they're all dummies, but you can see what the guest sees from that side. Okay, so that's one way to create a meeting. You create a link, and then once you create the link, the guests will see. Well, I'll go ahead and do it myself so that you can see. I know what you're supposed to see. You should see something like this. And the nice thing that x.ai automatically recognizes your time zone. So you make sure that it shows your time zone options. And so here you should see a bunch of options. And these are the slots that I had specified. And you just pick one of those slots. So go ahead and do that. And then you have the full experience. Okay. So we're not going to meet, but at least you'll go ahead and schedule a meeting. Okay. Then let's see, some other ways to schedule meetings. You can also, so that's the calendar page link. You can also, like maybe here I want to make a video call, and I say, okay, I want to make a call with someone. It looks at my availabilities. I say, okay, I can meet with someone on the 15th, 16th, or 17th, and finish and copy those times. And with that, instead of saying Monday, I just paste that in the email and there. And these are times, so that x.ai looked at my calendar and only gives options that are available. So it will not give any option that's not available. So I don't have to look through it myself. x.ai does that. And if none of these options works, the guest can click right here and it will give them more options. Okay, so that's another way to schedule meetings. Another way is instead of sending an email to Amy, this is a detailed interface where I can set, using my default scheduling hours, I say, okay, here's a certain date range. I want a meeting from the 16th to the 25th. That is 45 minutes. But give me 15 minutes commute time between meetings. I wanted a Microsoft Teams. I want a phone call, or I establish or let a meeting actually be in my office. I specified there. Then here I put the person's name, like, okay, maybe Sahra, even though she's right next to me. So I put the person, I've already used this with her, that's why it showed up, but you should just enter the email address, and then either x.ai will send an email to her, or it gives me a link and I include a link in the email. So that's another way to create an invitation. Or another way, if I don't want them to see my entire calendar, like what I had showed you, like here, I show you this option that lets them see my calendar, but later on they can still go to this. But if I want a one-time link, and this time they can set a meeting but never again, then I can also do that to just generate a link that works one time and that person cannot use that again. So lots of options, lots of ways to actually set up a meeting. And one of the really neat things about it is that once the meeting is set up, we know that meetings don't always hold. Maybe for some reason we have to reschedule. So let's see here. Oh, so only one has scheduled so far. Okay, well, no one else has scheduled, because you can see my calendar has just been updated. But really, no one else has scheduled? Because I want you to actually try it. But
One was quicker than me, so I tried the same, and then it said it wasn't available anymore.
okay. So
Mine is
yeah, it's
too.
first come, first serve. Once someone books, then that slot is no longer available. But then, okay, so here, let me see. Now, if for some reason I can't meet with Juan, something comes up, or either on my side, in the Outlook invitation, there's a little link, reschedule or cancel. And either I or she just clicks on that and it gives the option to reschedule the meeting. And just click reschedule. And when do you want to reschedule for? The week of February 15th, write a note. Sorry, could we please reschedule this? And then with that, you reschedule. It just takes a moment. And having rescheduled, see, it just vanished from my calendar, and now it sends her an email asking her to pick another time. Okay, so rescheduling is that easy. My network. So, I've invited very few people to x.ai, but a lot of people, once I invite them, they add themselves. And so they become part of my network. And so all these people that you see have become, they've also subscribed to x.ai. And once they add their calendar, uh, Amy, if I try to set up a meeting, she automatically finds a time that works for us both and books it immediately. She doesn't even ask the person because their calendar reflects their reality. So she finds a slot and books it right away. And that's fantastic. So like when I schedule meetings with Roland, I just send a message to Amy and it's done. He doesn't even need to respond. He puts it in his calendar, puts it in my calendar, and that's it. And the same with all these people. So it's fantastic, especially for people you try to meet with a lot, and Amy automatically finds a time that works for both of you. Then big part, okay, scheduling defaults. So what does Amy look for? So there's a section where you specify your defaults. Okay, so here I have to show some of my secrets. My default meetings are only Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays from 10 to 5. And that's my default time. So, because I like to leave my Thursdays and Fridays free so I can breathe a little bit for research. So when Amy schedules the meetings, it's within these days that she'll look. But generally the the guests don't see that. She only gives availabilities within those times. And my default meeting is 30 minutes, and there's lots and lots of customizability. So you set the basic default for meetings. But we know we have different meetings that don't meet these defaults. And so beyond the defaults, one of the most powerful features are meeting templates. So meeting templates, the video call template, so that's my most generic kind of meeting. And so that's really a default meeting, okay? It's a default meeting, and you specify one in Microsoft Teams. If you have multiple calendars, specify a calendar. Okay, it matches my default scheduling. Office hours, so this is something I make available for students. And usually I would not put on Teams. I would usually specify my office, but now with the pandemic, almost everything's on Teams. But then for students, I also give them my default hours, but just a 15-minute office hour call, and that's usually enough for office hours. So this I make available on K2. I tell students, if you need to meet with me, here's my link, and they schedule an office hours meeting. Thesis discussions, if I'm a supervising student, well, the default meeting there is 60 minutes. So I just give them a 60-minute meeting, and I send them the link to a thesis meeting, or I ask Amy to schedule a thesis meeting, and there you go. The x.ai demo, the link that I sent you, I created it custom just for this meeting. So I set a time period just for tomorrow. There's no other dates available for 15 minutes just for the demo. So that's a special case. Now, sometimes, my default meetings are Monday to Wednesday, but sometimes there's someone I really want to meet with, and I say anytime that's available. So I have the special available link. So when something is urgent, that's whether Thursday, Friday, even later, earlier, then I set that there. So here is, so there you can see availability is from 9 to 6 on weekdays, more extended times than what I make for my default. Then one big thing of SKEMA, sometimes you need to meet with someone in China, you need to meet with someone in Bello and Raleigh. So I have an intercontinental template. And there, that's my maximum availability. I said, okay, from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. weekdays, any time slot you can make. So when it's international, I give them that link, and then x.ai will look even broader. And so now one last template that is really was really fantastic is admission interview. So I was a program director for 6 months last year, and as program directors know, you have to schedule a lot of interviews. So the way I did my interviews, usually the admissions office asks you to block out times, and within those times, you give them times when you can schedule meetings, but I did it differently through x.ai. So I set up this template for that. and it has its link. So I gave this link to the admissions office. So whenever someone wanted an interview for artificial intelligence and business transformation, the admissions office gives the candidate this link. Then the candidate sees my availability that I set up for these are the times I can take interviews. So it's times that I want to take interviews. Again, Amy will never conflict with the time I have a meeting, but those are the times I could take interviews. And if you have date ranges, you could add date ranges. You can customize it however you want. But mine was ongoing. I just want interviews from Mondays to Wednesdays. Then the candidate clicks on that link and picks a time. And once they pick on a time, then there's an option here, a guest setting. I added, okay, I thought I had added here, but maybe I took it off. But what I had is, this is the person in the admissions office that schedules the meetings. So once the candidate confirms a time, Perlet automatically receives an email confirming it as well. I receive a message notifying me that someone's scheduled a time, and she receives it. And so then she goes ahead and books it in my schema, and then I get a confirmation. And that's it. No further interaction. So no back and forth. Does this time work for you or anything? The candidate just gets the link, they book it, and that's it. And x.ai automatically creates a Teams meeting with the Teams link for the candidate. So that's all. So it has integrations with Microsoft Teams, with Zoom, but with SKEMA Microsoft Teams works fantastic. Or if you want to use something else like Whereby, or I think they call that peer.in, you can use that also. You can give them that link any way that you want them to connect. They automatically have the link. So that was a fantastic time saver. And I think the admissions team really loved it. Okay, so that's just an idea of the kind of things you can do with x.ai and scheduling different kinds of meetings you might have at SKEMA. The pricing, fantastic thing. It is absolutely free for one calendar. So this is very functional for the vast majority of users. Most users only use one calendar, and you have everything you need. So that's why so many people signed up for it. However, if you want to use more than one calendar, then the individual plan is $96 per year. And it has a lot of other features. But in my case, if you remember, I showed you earlier, this is my personal life that I'm trying to balance with my SKEMA calendar. So for me, the multiple calendar feature is an absolute necessity. So I use multiple calendars. I am a calendar power user. Each color is a different calendar, but x.ai manages all of them, make sure there's no conflict. A lot of these are available, so they can overlap, but then it checks and all that. So I use the paid version, and I pay for it personally for the sanity of my work-life balance. Now, if you are if you're an executive assistant that manages someone else's calendar for them, then you would want a team plan, which is $144 per user per year. Or if you are a work group on a service that schedules a lot of meetings that different people might attend, then the team plan is more functional. It also gives custom branding. But I think the vast majority of SKEMA professors, the free version would be all they would need. So to get started with x.ai, if you really want to get into it, here's a link for the tutorial video. And the tutorial videos, I'll go ahead and post the link directly in the Teams chat right there. Okay, sorry, just a moment. Let me post that. And with that, it's a video of how to sign up in the first place, and then a 30-minute video that walks through all the features. Now, if you want a little bit more, then you can join a live training session. So just by following this link here. So of course it's an x.ai schedule link, and you can think twice a week they have live webinars. So you just pick the next slot that works for you. And with that, actually, the live webinar, I've attended it. It's pretty much the same thing as the welcome webinar, but then there's another 15 minutes per question and answers. So you can, even if you've started using it, it's very good to go through the webinar so they have a full view of the functionality, especially more recent functionality, and then you can actually ask questions to the experts at x.ai. Okay, so that is my little quick presentation.